And now at noon, we're making sure you're prepared on this weather impact alert day. Storms are moving through the area right now. You're looking at new video in Gerttown as the rain came down just minutes ago. The weather has also left more than 2,000 Entergy customers without power right now. Most of them are in the lower Algiers area. Well, good afternoon. I'm Whitney Miller. Thanks so much for watching. We're keeping an eye on those power outages and street flooding for you. But first, Alexandra Cranford is in the building with us. And how much rain can we expect today? I know it's on and off in some spots.
Yeah, and we are about to get a break for New Orleans, but in general, over the next 3 days, we are expecting 3 to 6 inches of rain. So good bit of rain on the way, not all at once, hopefully, but we actually do have the chance for some of these heavy downpours like you mentioned. Right now, though, you can see clearly we have our batch of rain that we just had move in around New Orleans continue north. So now it's out over Lake Pontchartrain, and actually a lot of it doesn't look quite as heavy as those bright reds that you were seeing on radar when this was a little bit farther to the southeast of the city. But now we are seeing, if you're in uptown and parts of New Orleans, around the West Bank, we're starting to see a little bit of clearing, so we will get a break, it looks like, in at least the next couple of hours. Not to say there might not be more rain later on. Right now around Thibodaux and Homa, also thunderstorms happening around Raceland, some pretty heavy rain moving in. Slidell and the Mississippi coast also getting showers moving in at this point. But again, it's not quite as heavy as it could be. Looking at rain totals, we have already seen at Kenner more than an inch of rain, more than an inch and a half, in fact. And as we look ahead to the next 2 days, today, tomorrow, and Friday, we're talking about those 3 to 6 inch totals with some heavy rain at times. Definitely want to watch for street flooding in the next few days when we get these rounds of storms. I'll be back with more in a minute.
Alexandra, thank you so much. Well, last week we told you about a raised manhole in Gerttown that sent a 45-year-old man to the ICU after WWL Louisiana shared his story. The manhole was paved over, but locals say paving one spot of the street was not enough. Flooding on South Rindon is still causing big problems for businesses on the block. Amelia Strahan joins us now live from South Rindon. Amelia, what are the conditions like where you are now? I see you standing in a puddle there.
Yeah, so Whitney, things have calmed down, but just about an hour ago, right where I'm standing now, the rain was to the tip of my rain boots. It was actually pouring in a little bit. So let me show you what conditions looked like then. Just about, I would say this rain accumulated over the course of about half an hour. Water from the surrounding streets was rushing onto South Rindon, and the lowest part of the street was holding the water just like a bowl. The city tells us they cleared catch basins along the street, but you can see here that a few of the drains were still having trouble keeping up. Now, after we shared Bradley Nodier's story, the city did come and pave around the manhole, but the business owners that we spoke to said flooding has been a problem on this street for as long as they can remember. So, Whitney, I'm here with Gabriel Markel, and he is the owner of Markel Lumber right here on this block. Tell me, Gabriel, what are conditions like whenever it is one of those rainstorms that just doesn't stop?
Sure. Well, like a lot of South Louisiana, the rain can come down real hard, and when it does, it stacks up pretty quickly here, locally in most spots. So yeah, it'll take about 30 minutes, and we'll get 2 or 3 feet of water in the street. That's no problem. That's probably happened a dozen times this year, and probably about 5 times this year. It's probably gotten about 5 feet of water in the street.
Yeah. And whenever it gets into your business, it kind of hits that point. It's lumber, which means it can get a little bit wet, but what happens when it gets really saturated? Do you guys lose money?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can't sell stuff that's been flooded. And it's lumber. Every job site gets rained on, but the bottom parts get wet, and it just holds the moisture, and it mildews and molds up, and so we just got to throw the stuff away.
And you told me before the interview, how much do you guys usually lose whenever it rains like that?
Yeah, in a typical loss like that, it's probably about 5,000 every time. It's been worse, it's been less, but yeah, 5,000 is a fair estimate.
So 5,000 5 times a year?
5 times this year, yeah. It's been getting a lot worse lately. There's a broken backflow valve there on the Washington Avenue Canal, and so when the canal fills up, it backflows up, and you can see it just pouring down the street, coming around the corner. The manhole cover gets blown up. There's so much pressure in there, and we just flood from that.
All right, Gabriel. Well, I definitely hope it does not get to that point today.
Yeah, let's get it fixed. Yeah.
All right, so we hear this time and time again, Whitney, businesses that have to pay the financial repercussions for this street flooding. So like I mentioned, we hope that doesn't happen today. Reporting live from Gerttown, Amelia Strahan, WWL, Louisiana.
Amelia, thank you so much. Taking another look at those Entergy outages this afternoon. Right now, a little more than 2,000 customers without power. According to Entergy's outage map, most of the outages are in the lower Algiers area. Entergy expects power to be restored in about 1 hour at 1 o'clock. We'll need to watch out for street flooding over the next several days, especially if catch basins near you aren't cleaned out. New data from the city of New Orleans shows thousands of catch basins have not been cleaned so far this year, despite millions of dollars being invested to getting it done. Winston Reed has more.
Here at the corner of St. Peter and Durgenois streets, take a look at this catch basin that is barely visible. You see vegetation, trash and junk inside of that basin with the lid toppled over. It's one of 72,000 catch basins in the city. The city council allocated $10 million back in 2022 to clean the basins. Only about 5,000 basins have been cleaned so far this year. Some city officials say the pace is too slow, allowing flooding to be a common concern. Councilman Joe Geruso says another problem is sewage and water board taking the blame for basins not being cleaned.
If you have a block catch basin or a linear line that's collapsed or a drainage line that's too small, sewage and water board gets really a lot of grief over the pumping problem, but really it's maybe the front end part of the system that's more problematic.
Last year, under 2,500 catch basins were cleaned here in the city of New Orleans. The Sewage and Water Board will take over the catch basins and manage them in 2025. Reporting in New Orleans, Winston Reed, WWL, Louisiana.